Since we've had the automatic calf feeder, it's taken a lot of pressure off rearing the calves. I'm not fighting with the calves. It's so much easier just putting the milk powder in the machine, checking who's fed, seeing how much they've had.
It's mixed up perfectly. The calves have drank it, they've had no trouble. It's just the easiest thing, you just wouldn't believe it.
You start, skipping things to try and fit your life around calf rearing. This means that you fit calf rearing around your life.
The calves are happy about it, so that's all that counts really.
Despite the fact that calves are sociable animals and feel most comfortable when they are together, it is still important to have the possibility to feed and treat them individually.
The main reason we've done it is to, once the calves get to a certain age, they start fighting amongst each other and it becomes hard work, and making sure every individual calf gets their right amount. So this system we can leave them in the shed a bit longer and then keep them feeding when they want to feed, so they've got to be healthier and a lot happier with everything. Like they're quiet now, they're not calling out, and we're standing around here like normal calves will.
What we notice about our calves, they're very content. Strangers can come down to the shed and there's no bellowing or they're not waiting for a feed. By the end of the feeding regime, they come out as one line. They're very even. And I would say this is down to that each calf gets their individual feed. They're not fighting over the littler calf still gets the required amount. The bully hasn't taken all the milk.
There was just one calf, one particular calf there, it was number 5, and it would have, It
was one of those calves that you should have probably knocked on the head from birth. It was so little, it hardly reached the home and lao teat. It was sort of one of those calves that we had to put through the system to see if it actually grew. Now those calves would normally stay little.
It'd be over 90 kilos now, and it would have only started out at, barely 20 kilos.
And that proved that each individual calf on a home and lao system will get the benefits of getting their correct feed, each feed. Whereas when you're manually doing them, you can't guarantee that they're always getting that feed because the bigger ones will push the other one off.
With the home and lao system, you can achieve optimum conditions for rearing your calves. The home and lao unit is built from modules and gives you the opportunity to feed fresh milk, queen of calves, milk replacer, or a combination of the three. It allows for the addition of vitamins, electrolytes, or other powder and liquid products, enabling you to treat each individual calf or the whole mob.
Well, the home and lao offers you several options in terms of what you want to feed to your calves. You can have whole milk, we can have milk powder with water, and you can have liquid additives and powder additives for groups of calves or individual calves.
These systems allow for us to keep a far regular supply of good nutrients, and also allows us to keep the health status of that animal a whole lot better through the gut system throughout the whole day, just because we're putting it in things regular and often.
When a calf enters the feeding station, the ID number on the transponder or air tag is electronically identified, and the home and lao determines whether the calf is allowed to feed.
When it comes to putting the calves on, ours go on at 4-day-old. They take 2 feeds and you just show them where the teats are, and they soon learn that they can come in twice a day to feed, and they're quite content.
The feed ration is prepared, taking into consideration the ambient current temperature in the shed and the distance to the feeding station, plus the time since the last visit. That means at any moment, at any ambient temperature, any distance up to 8 metres from the home and lao to the feeding station, the feed at the teat is always the right temperature.
With the automated system, the calves go and get it when they want it. It's always at the same temperature, it's always the same amount, it's consistency, and that's the way that they grow well.
When the calf has finished its feed, the feeder tube is cleaned with a small volume of warm water, and then the system is automatically drained. That means that the feed lines are empty and clean, and twice a day the system is washed and sanitised automatically. Perfect feeding portions served at the perfect temperature and thoroughly sanitised automatically. It's like having a calf expert living in the shed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It becomes mum. They no longer recognise you as, oh, there's the lady, it's feed time. They recognise, and that comes down to the ad-lib system, where they don't get told when to feed, they choose when to feed.
The home and lao unit has a capacity for up to 4 feeding stations with a maximum capacity of up to 150 calves. As the system is built from modules, you just choose the solution that fits your current needs. You can upgrade the existing machine anytime later on.
On a manual system, we'd spend about 3 to 4 hours feeding calves, and with the automated system, we spend about half an hour.
The time that I spend in here now is quite minimal, which is great. I can get back to the children. And so for labour costs, it's, there's been nothing in it, it's just been me.
By the time you get a calf to 7 or 8 weeks, they know whether they're hungry or not, and they change their feeding times, and pretty much once you realise that they've let go of you, you let go of them pretty quick, and you go and get the washing out and do the GST return.
But with this machine and with the feeding the queen of calves, they you know exactly what everyone's getting, and you can see exactly, and the machine weans them by itself. Now you know exactly what age they are. The machine tells you how much milk they've drank, how much queen of calves. You can actually, it'll tell you every individual calf how much they've used, and so you can get a rough idea also exactly what it's cost to rear that calf. And so it's perfect.
Colin and the team from Bellbooth were bloody good coming to set it up and help me set these programs, no problem at all.
Generally, every farming operation is different, so we tend to set the machines up from their first installation very conservatively. By doing that, we allow the farmer to learn more about the machine and its operation, and we can also build on those settings as the season goes on.
I'm going to be running out-of-season calves. We'll probably run some bull calves. We'll either rear them for someone on a contract, or we will source and rear them ourselves. That's something we're still deciding, but we definitely will be rearing. Now that we've got the system in place and it's so simple and easy, we'd be silly not to.
The improvement in getting better growth rate through the shed would mean that on most operations we could expect to get probably a 10% improvement in growth rate. So that means that for every day we don't have them in the shed, we've saved $1 a calf. So say 10 days, that's $10 a calf that we've saved them just by getting them out earlier. That alone would pay for the investment in a H&L system for sure.
We have now had the H&L system for 2 autumns and 2 springs. The systems have really gone well. We're really pleased with the way the calves turn out, and I don't know how I would actually go back to feeding calves with cafeterias.
It's probably 85 to 90% easier than the traditional method.
I like to think that I was a good calf rearer manually, and I thought, you know, I was sure I had good calves then, but now they're even better.
Life is easier. You're not lugging buckets over into cafeterias. Everything's quite easy on a person.
There's a number of rearers that would just never go back to anything else once they've gone onto these systems, and it's just an investment that you'll never regret.
If you have any questions about the installation or advantages of a H&L for your property, then please contact Stephen Bellbooth on 0800 80 90 91 or visit our website www.bellbooth.co.nz.